Thank you so much for joining us. We're so excited to have you here. Can you go ahead and start with a brief introduction?
Yes, I am Madison Adams. I am a family consumer science teacher here at Mill Creek High School in Gwinnett County. I teach food nutrition and wellness and food science.
Awesome. So I get this question a lot. What is family and consumer sciences?
Family and consumer sciences is essentially the study of life, the teaching of all the different pieces of the puzzle.
That's perfect explanation. So I used to teach that, so I love your explanation of it. So how long have you been there?
This is my second year.
Awesome. And how long have you been in the field of education in general?
It's about I would say at least 5 as far as the teaching aspect and being involved in the school. But since I was in kindergarten, so all the way up.
That's so perfect. So what type of education or training do you have to have for this career?
I had to attend a 4-year university and get my bachelor's degree as well as my teaching certification. So kind of both happening at the same time.
Perfect. And where did you go for your teaching certification?
I went to the University of Georgia. Go Dogs.
Yes, go Dogs. Perfect. And what led you to this career in being like a family and consumer sciences teacher?
I always knew I wanted to teach. I was that kindergartner who was like, oh, I want to be you, Miss so-and-so. So I knew I wanted to be a teacher. And then it came to the point where I was like, I want to teach something real, like something that is applicable. And so that's when life got thrown at me. And I was like, we will teach family and consumer sciences so we can teach all the different aspects.
Yes, that's perfect. So did you take family and consumer sciences when you were in middle school or high school?
I did. I took it in both. I took it in middle school as well as high school. I did actually 2 pathways in high school with it. So I had double the FACS there.
Perfect. And what all are the different pathways that come along with FACS?
There's many. In middle school, you kind of hit all of them, but there's essentially 5. You have your early childhood, which would be like education, stuff like that. You then have foods pathways, which could involve culinary. It could involve the nutrition piece of it. You also have housing and interiors. You also have finance. And then I believe there's one more I'm missing. No, that's it. Because culinary is sometimes split apart. So foods and culinary sometimes become separate.
That's perfect. So what does a typical day consist of in your field?
I get up, I come to school a little bit before the kids get here. I plan out the day and then I teach about 5 classes and then I have a planning period and I get lunch. So a full 7 classes.
Perfect. So with your 5 classes, do you teach 5 different classes or are they the same class?
So I start my day off with my food nutrition. Those are my freshmen, so I get to see them in the morning. It's an intro class, and then I get my planning period right after that, little break, and then I have my freshmen again, followed by a grouping of seniors with food science, followed by another grouping of freshmen, and then ending the day with my last group of seniors for food science as well.
Perfect. So what do you enjoy most about your career?
I like my relationships that I get to build with my students, especially in high school. I get to go to their sporting events. I get to go to their club activities or their drama theater performances. So I like that aspect the most.
Perfect. So what are some challenges that you faced in your role?
Keeping up with everything. Definitely have to be organized and kind of 5 steps ahead, even though sometimes you're 2 steps behind. So kind of quick on your feet and very just going constantly.
Perfect. So how do you see your career as a teacher evolving in the next 10 years?
I hope it stays, steady and goes the way that I want it to. And just in general, I feel like more people are going to learn more life skills, especially with the pandemic that we've had. People were at home having to cook by themselves or having to sew their own masks. So I feel like FACS in general is coming back. And hopefully it's here to stay.
That would be so exciting because at one point, we were a dying breed. The programs were dying, people going into our field, all of that stuff. So that's awesome to hear that potential. Like as Dr. Adams says, the pendulum always swings back. So here we are. What kind of person do you think will be most successful in your field?
A people person,
Mhm.
a problem solver, someone who's very flexible, adaptive. Any of those types of people are very comfortable as teachers.
Perfect. So, what does communication look like in your field?
There's a lot of different forms,
Mhm.
but mostly it's typically around emails, kind of communicating with different teachers, networking. Um, could be through phone, could be through the email, could be through remind apps. It kind of depends on what the school system uses, I think.
Perfect. So, you kind of dabbled in this one, but what kind of technology do you use in your field?
I use a ton. I use Google. We use Canva. We use platforms like Remind, so I can stay in touch with my students. I haven't ventured into Instagram or anything like that yet, but that's always a possibility.
Mhm.
Um, really anything. There's the all the education platforms there, like the Nearpods,
Mhm.
such as that. So there's a bunch of different ones.
Perfect. Keeping those kids engaged.
Hmm.
So this one will be really easy for you to answer because you are of a CTAE background. But what kind of classes would you recommend for a middle school or a high school student to take if they're interested in your career or one similar to yours?
So luckily, if you want to become a teacher, all of your Common Core are going to be great to learn and understand. But you can also take classes, obviously, in career and technical education, family and consumer sciences, if you attend to teach like that. But also any of the educational pathways, even doing work-based learning with internships. It can be in your same school sometimes. I know I worked as like an office aide, and that kind of gave me the backing too. You could go work with a teacher in elementary school. I also did that in high school. So there's a lot of different avenues to become a teacher because there's so many ways in education that you'll see it.
Yes, that's perfect. So do you have any last words of advice for our students here at Richards?
Do what you feel best in your heart as a career. If you don't love what you're doing, you will not like it. You have to go into work and think of it not as work, but as almost like fun. So that's what I do.
Yes, thank you for saying that and saying that again because we've been telling our kids to turn their passions or their interests, their likes into those careers. So it, like you said, doesn't feel
Yep.
like you're working. It may be hard to get up in the morning because
Yes.
it's hard, but once you get there, you're like, oh, I love this. It's
It gives
fun.
you a reason. Yep.
Exactly. So thank you so much for your time. You did
Thank you.
awesome. Bye.